Welcome to TechShu Industry Update. This Oscar is a reminder that the world is changing, whether we like it or not. The leaders or the things that mattered in the previous world, it does not matter anymore. And it is going to be like this for there will be things that people will like for a shorter period of time, then people will move on. So what you can see from this year's Oscar is this year Oscar had some 16.6 million total viewerships that's been there, and people were discussing about the slapgate and etc at various levels. And on the other side, previous year was the worst year, and overall, if you see, it is the importance of Oscar is what you should be looking at, which was considered to be the most important thing. But the people today do not give the same weightage. People don't care to what awards you have, what recognition you have, etc. Because people look at things from a very different perspective. And that's a reminder that whatever we have heard, whatever we have thought, that this is how the world moves, can keep changing. So what matters to people is, and there are YouTube channels which are very unique in nature, which you and me might find it very, very boring, or maybe something that you and me may not be even considering it to be worth creating ever. Like somebody is just preparing food and recording their videos, or somebody is playing games and just recording the video, etc. In a just with there is no there's no sound, just an ASMR kind of videos, etc. But the number of viewers that they have millions of subscribers, they have millions of views on their videos. Some of the videos even have some 17-20 million views. So every content that people are creating, there is an audience to it, and that audience loves it, and that audience is consuming such kind of content. Whereas the content which was mass content, where this was dominated, the conversation was dominated around it, and those are being eaten by the smaller fishes. So many people are coming to it. So what, as a business, what you need to look at it, what is it hinting towards, is that the world is continuously changing and changing at a much faster way. So whatever our assumptions are, that this is how it is supposed to work, this is how it is supposed to be valued, can be challenged at any point in time. So as a business, you also keep challenging yourself and thinking that is it the way that we should be looking at it. For example, the way we hire, we hire people by interviews and by giving them some test or looking at their CV. But is it the right way of hiring? Can we look at their recent updates on their LinkedIn? Can we look at some of the things that they have mentioned on their LinkedIn skills, that what people are subscribing to it? Look at the kind of testimonials that they get, look at the type of comments that they make, or ask them very interesting question. Because now you may not want to interview somebody, but you can ask them to take these 5 questions and record a video of yours, send it back to us. So there are many ways by which you can disrupt or think differently. So similarly, whether it is about appraisals, whether it is about the way you manage your team or manage a project, all of those things can be challenged. Plus, even if you look from an end customer perspective, the end customers are also changing on a regular basis. Their behaviors are changing, their lifestyles are changing. For example, the webinars, the purpose of webinar was very different before COVID. There were limited webinars that people will do because everybody was busy traveling, and asking me to do a webinar, I had to actually look at my schedule, and we'll have to figure it out what is the time when I will not have any travel. Because if there is a travel, then it's very difficult to do a webinar during a travel. Now people were at home for many, many months, so the number of webinars that happened was very high, and so there's a webinar fatigue. And not only that, the amount of knowledge that got created, very high quality knowledge that got created during this pandemic, was very high. So now when you do a new um, webinar, or you do a white paper, or you do an article, so people will look at it and say, I know there are so many things available like this, so why should I even be bothered to do that? So maybe you want to create some utility based content, something that people can use it. You want to create shorter version of content like a story or something, where people can just understand the concept in a shorter way, and people will stay connected with you, and whenever they need a longer version, they will go and consume the longer version of it. So the whole point is, these are big signals that will keep coming to you and saying that what was relevant in the past is no more relevant. And I'm not saying Oscar is no more relevant or things, but it's a, it's a fact that the value that a movie will carry, saying that this is an Oscar awarded movie, compared to some movie which Oscars may not even have given a notice, but it's loved by people, and people are caring about it, people are talking about it, and it becomes a cult. And that is there on the social media, that is there on your in your circle, and that might be more valuable to you than somebody which is labeled as an Oscar winning movie. So that whole, subcultures rather than a macro culture, there are micro cultures getting created, and the micro cultures will eat the macro culture. And even in a family, if there are four people living, the family may not have one macro culture, there may be four different micro culture within the family in itself. So society will have micro culture. So look at those micro cultures, and you stand for certain things where you will have enough audience, and they will take it up and take it to the next level. So as a business, just the last pointer, or as a summary, that the world is changing, look at the world and keep working towards and challenging the status quo which is available in the market. So hopefully this was helpful.